And how's it going, everybody? My name is Casey Turbin, and I am bringing you our second Winchester Black History profile. And at the center of the story is an act of defiance and military subterfuge carried out by a 26-year-old Quaker woman and a middle-aged enslaved man named Thomas Laws. Now, to fully understand this story, you really have to understand where the Civil War was in the summer and fall of 1864. Over that summer, Lee's Army of Northern Virginia had finally been wrangled and pushed into siege trenches outside of Richmond and Petersburg, and were under constant bombardment by a federal force led by U.S. Grant. To alleviate some of that pressure, Lee sends an army under the command of Jubal Anderson Early out into the Shenandoah Valley to terrorize Washington, D.C., and to protect that vital breadbasket of the Confederacy. Lincoln and the War administration were unnerved by Early's presence and successes on the eve of his re-election bid, which led to Philip Sheridan taking command of the newly formed 40,000-man Union Army of the Shenandoah. Now, with the formation of that army, Sheridan's 1864 Valley Campaign is officially underway, but the army is slow to move due to several factors, including experience, knowledge of the area, and information on Early's forces, concentration, and if they would be reinforced by Richmond. So to ascertain that information, enter our unlikely duo. Union scouts were aware of our central character Thomas Laws, an enslaved man from Berryville that was in possession of a pass that allowed him to move between Winchester and Berryville 3 times a week to sell his enslavers' produce to the town's residents and soldiers. The Union 8th Corps commander George Kirk was also aware of Rebecca Wright, a member of Winchester's Unionist population, about 15% of the community, with her home just off of Winchester's bustling commercial center on Loudon Street. The plan was that Sheridan would write a letter on a fine piece of tissue paper asking for information Wright may have ascertained on Confederate troops. The note was wrapped in foil and to be placed in Law's mouth as he passed into the town to carry the note to Wright, a woman up to that point he did not know. Now, both civilians were risking extreme danger to help the Union troops, but especially Laws, who most certainly would have been lynched if he was found out. Now, Wright initially refuses to help out of fear, but she sleeps on it and divulges that a Confederate suitor, some lover boy, had told her that reinforcements destined for the valley had been sent back to Richmond, revealing to Sheridan that the time was right to move on Early's forces. Now, Laws and Wright's fearlessness gave Union Command the confidence it needed to set into motion what would be the bloodiest fall of the war for the Shenandoah Valley. A month of fighting between 3rd Winchester, Tom's Brook, Fisher's Hill, and finally the Battle of Cedar Creek. But that victory at Cedar Creek finally pushes Confederate forces out of the lower valley for the rest of the war and secures Lincoln his re-election just a few weeks later in November. Now, in the aftermath of the war, Rebecca Wright and her identity were released, and her family were shamed and banished from Winchester, but she was able to find and secure a bureaucratic job in Washington with the help of General Sheridan. Now, Laws was able to blend into a free and unknown hardscrabble existence as a sharecropper near where he was enslaved in Clark County. He did confess to a few people of his identity, but Union veterans that were seeking him were never able to find the brave slave who aided in the war effort, no matter how hard they look. Laws passed at the age of 78, the father of 8 children, and was a bona fide Civil War hero. He's buried in Berryville's Milton Hill Cemetery near the historic Josephine City. It was an honor to share his Laws story with you. Please like, follow, share, and I'll see you guys next Thursday for our third profile.